All right, guys, we are back out here live at the booth at CPAC 2022. And here is a game show question for you. Which one of us right now has no ability to fight anyone out in the public? That would be me. I'm joined with some of the finest in UFC fighters and some of the finest in history. Harrison Rogers, Frank Mir, and Tito Ortiz joining me here at CPAC. And okay, we'll get into the fight stuff here in just a second. But normally, I'm interviewing swamp creatures and people wanting to fight the swamp. Today, I'm talking to you guys. This is what an honor it is to have you guys at our booth.
Well, I'm not a fighter. I just want to clarify that real quick.
But you love to fight the establishment, though, right?
Yes, exactly. I'm using their muscle to hopefully bring a different type of fight to the swamp, like you're saying.
You just got off from a panel. Let's kind of recap kind of what you guys talked about, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts, into the weeds of your event coming up.
Yeah, so I'll start that off. We just got done promoting our Freedom Fight Night that's coming up March 19th in Miami, which we're trying to bring, like you were saying, a kind of a new perspective to fighting for our freedoms, which, all the proceeds are going to go to our PAC to really make sure that we are targeting races that, hey, if people were voting for mandates and you're saying that you're a champion of freedom, you got to go. People are not afraid enough about being primaried. And anyway, that's what we're here to kind of say, hey, your constituents are watching, not just the people who have always been playing politics, but the people who now are waking up and saying no more. These guys are risking their brands and images with cancel culture and social media. I mean, I'll let them talk about that in a second, but they're fighters. They will shy away from anything.
Jump in there, Frank.
Yeah, basically what we're trying to do. Look, the left has Hollywood, higher education. There's certain identities that people have that these industries have, and we're trying to battle it. Obviously, the military, we have the conservatives, is more that way, being warriors. I'm trying to create an identity in a way for people to live life and want to be warriors as far as, martial artists. So we're trying to create a platform where they can see these young men and women going out there, competing, pushing, and they have an identity on what they think and how they feel and why they get up in the morning to go for that run, why they sacrifice certain meals or why they don't have time. Hey, I'm not going to go out and party tonight because I have training in the morning. And those are the characteristics I want to showcase and build upon so people can see that platform and guys and girls out there competing and seeing what it's done for Tito and myself and for our children and why we push it. So bringing up more the fight world, showing that, hey, this is a genre that we can take over and show that the left, you own entertainment, you own higher education in different facets of our culture, but I want the pop culture of martial artists and warriors to not be our industry.
Yeah, amen to that. And Tito, you stepped into the election public role and with your campaign there not too long ago in Huntington Beach.
Actually, 2020, I ran for city council in Huntington Beach. I got the most votes in Huntington Beach history. I was a part of the agenda, though, being in Huntington Beach, California. Huntington Beach is the fourth most conservative city in the United States. It actually is the Florida of California, but it's changing. Just the infrastructure is just being attacked by the left completely. There's Democrats that are coming in and just socialism is something that they want to become a fact, and it's not going to happen unless the people step up and fight, because if they don't step up and fight, it's going to happen. Yeah. And everybody across America right now is the opportunity to step up, and I'm happy places like here at CPAC that there's so many conservatives coming together to fight for something that matters. I've traveled the world before. There is nothing like the United States at all. Every time I come back to the United States, I'm very, very thankful because I'm able to give my children everything I've always wanted as a kid, and even more now, it's our freedoms. You see people like in Canada and Australia, they're losing their freedoms completely, and that's scary. Here in the United States, our forefathers fought for that. I got in the octagon. I fought for 25 years. I competed for my children, but at the same time, for the mixed martial arts of growing and getting bigger and bigger, where they sold the company for $4.5 billion. Well, now here's an opportunity that we're going to start a new brand of Freedom Fighting Championships, of giving these guys the opportunities to make money, to live that American dream, because the American dream is still alive. I'm proof of it. I've came from nothing. I've been able to achieve a lot of great things, but do the same thing of that. But at the same time is getting people to support the country, and that's what our PAC's going to try to do, is support the country, because our country needs a lot of support right now. 2022 is the most important election of our history, of American history, and I think that right now it's our time to speak up. And the people that call us the silent majority, stop being the silent majority. Step up and be the ones that are verbal, because that's why they are. They're small, but they attack as loud as they possibly can. You know, it's like how big the dog is not the thing. It's how bad does he bite or bark. And those guys are nothing but bark. And I think a lot of conservatives here in our country should be the biters and step up and not be the bullies, but more of just be a protector and of their families and the future of this country.
Well, what's interesting, if you look at other sports like the NBA, it seems culturally cool to come out and support a lot of radical agendas. But when a conservative athlete speaks out, then all of a sudden this guy is being pushed, jerseys, people are rallying to remove him from the team. You want to elaborate on that?
That was actually my turning point, which made me want to get more political. I think at that point in my life, voting and paying attention, I flip the news on like anybody else and watch. But my aspirations to be involved was like, it's going to happen with or without me, you know. But then when I saw that the American flag started becoming a symbol of racism and hatred, and people weren't proud anymore of the flag, and I'm like, man, my dad fled from another country to be a part of this. He has a flag on his truck. If you told him to not be proud of the flag, he would probably get into a fist fight with you. He would be very ashamed. And that, when I saw that, I'm like, well, how is it all of a sudden that you want to stand for the pledge, or you want to and have the flag on your door is all of a sudden a sign of hatred or a sign of something you should be ashamed of? Yeah, it's like, well, no, you have the flag out there, you're a racist, or you're angry. I'm like, how is all of a sudden our country going this way where the flag represents that to you guys? That's when I was like, all right, we got to put our foot down and start doing something.
It's interesting when you see a house or a business with the flag out front, you kind of know where they think politically.
That's
these days.
crazy.
I mean, that's absolutely insane that is identifier right
so
there.
we're talking about flags. So the flag with the blue line through it for officers, right? Sure. So I was on city council. I tried to bring it on city council as an H item, with saying we're going to have it on, was it August, the month of August, to fly it at the city hall and to fly it to pier down on Huntington Beach. Yeah. I get a call from the chief of police like 15 times in one day telling me that that's a racist flag. We can't do that here because BLM will come down here and burn down Huntington. It's going to cost us over $300,000 to protect Huntington. And I was like, you're buying into this stuff? Because once you you buy into them, they're going to continue on and bully you. And
the mob.
It was disgusting. This is chief of police. I'm like, so when I was on city council, I was a white supremacist. Yeah. Tito Ortiz, yes. I'm a white supremacist. No. Tito Ortiz is Mexican. I have like 4 or 5 different nationalities in me, but at the same time, I mean, on my phone, I have a blue flag. I love it. I mean, it's a cover that I have, and it's because of our law and order that this country needs, and a lot of people forget about that. Who are you going to do when you get in trouble? Who are you going to call? Call the police, right? We need them. We need the police. The military protects our country. We need them. And it's just, we need an administration taking over this country, and what Trump did, we need that again, and we're losing it. And right now, we're the weakest we've ever been. It's scary.
And you've got NBA players that can speak out on things that are going on in the news right now, and then the followers take it as the gospel. They take it as the truth. So some of these high-profile athletes, they abuse their positions as far as pushing out, I think, fake news.
Well, they give opinions on things that are unfounded, like Tito was talking about earlier, that he researches and he looks into something before he says something. I do the same thing. Someone will go, hey, did you see what Trump said? I'm like, wait a minute. Did you actually see what he said off of a clip on CNN or MSNBC, or did you watch the whole interview so you can gather the context? They're like, well, no, I seen the bullet points. Like, I don't want to listen to you. Then you don't have a stand. You can't argue with me now because you don't really know. You're taking something completely out of context. You don't understand the full body of what was said, and then sometimes that happens. And I think you have to be responsible for what you say. I don't believe in people being canceled. I think that we have the freedom of speech and freedom to be able to say out there. But when you have LeBron James giving his opinion on an officer shooting before all the facts have even hit, within 12 hours, you're like, man, you're inciting that guy's family to be endangered right now, and you don't even know what's going on, and that's irresponsible.
Yeah, and it's tough to change the narrative once it's put out there.
But he's celebrated for it. Like he gains momentum by saying that stuff. Enes Kanter, who I think is going to be here later, we need more athletes and celebrities like these gentlemen and Enes Kanter to speak up. Ironically, not only are they not praised, they're condemned. Yeah. I mean, they are shadow banned. They are threatened. And so we need to, unfortunately, actually have alternatives. And right now there is none. And so another big thing we push is Clout Hub, which is an alternative to not only Twitter, which is like the big thing that everybody needs to, switch from. No. We need a an alternative to everything, from Facebook to YouTube to Google, not to take over. It doesn't need to be, oh, we want to cancel Facebook. That's us doing the same thing that we're saying not to do. We're just saying we need more options so that this control can't happen.
So we can have a voice.
Yes.
Let's talk about your event coming up in March. It's going to be really unique.
Yes.
I know that we want to try to put as much light on that event as
Please
possible.
Be there. Yes, Freedom Fight Night. It is going to be the first of hopefully many where celebrities, fighters can come speak and not only be not shadow banned and censored, you will finally get the praise and the energy that you deserve, because you're not getting that on regular social media right now. You'll come see the audience who actually are starving for your message, starving for your celebrity to follow, and we need more of that. So
Well, what you're going to go out there and see is our idea was to have coaches go out there. So we have Tito Ortiz and Quentin Rampage Jackson are going to coach against each other. And we're going to have men and women out there fighting. Each fighter wants to do as well as possible for themselves, just like each person in life should want to be as strong as they can possibly be. And then it only adds to the tribe. We should all desire to be the weakest link in the chain. So that's how this is going to work. March 19th is that Tito has his team coaching out there, and how each individual does is going to add points to versus Quentin's team. How they win and how they do will give him points. So you have the individual aspect, but then also team aspect, which that's how really our society should be. That's how our culture in America is what I want to drive for.
Well, not to beat that analogy to death, but freedom is a group effort where even though we need each aspect to be as strong as it can be with individual fighters, in the team aspect, everybody has to pull their own weight, but it is a team effort, it's not just one branch of government that needs to be strong. They all need to be strong. And then, I'm known as the anti-woke CEO. Running a company, you have to be strong in every individual department, but it's a group effort to sustain success. And so we're weak in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
And
that's exactly how mixed martial arts. When I became a high school wrestler. Out of high school wrestling, I started boxing and do jiu-jitsu. So you got to add these small different things. Before I became the world champion a year and a half later after competition, I had the best jiu-jitsu guy, I had the best kickboxer, I had the best weight trainer, the best boxer, the best wrestler, and I had my 5 team that we would compete, and I became the world champion. Well, I think in normal life, you need that no matter what business you're in. You got to make sure you have guys that are a lot more strengthful in areas that you're not in those strengths, and I think we're able to really do this ourselves.
Well, I couldn't let you guys go if we didn't have Fight Talk 101. I got to ask you guys, Frank, Tito, toughest fight you've ever had and why? Either you won or lost. Just what was the
toughest fight I lost? It had to be a lose, because losing is, if you don't have failure, you don't learn from it, and that's one of the biggest things. I think Randy Couture, when I lost my world title, I was on my 5th title defense. I was 32 years old, he was 40, and I said, there's no possible way a 40-year-old's going to beat me. And I trained for, 3 months straight up in Big Bear and sacrificed the world for it, and wow. I lost, and I cried in my hotel room that night, and I couldn't realize, suck it up, and to be a true champion, to show how you can do after. That was in 2003. I still compete, and we're in 2022, so 25 years of competition. I'm very fortunate, but Randy Couture for sure the hardest fight I've ever had.
Unbelievable.
And he's a great patriot. Very great patriot, yes.
Frank?
Mine actually were still ones I won, and that was against Nogueira. And the reason being is because as far as submissions goes, I'm one of the best in the world, if not the best. And when I fought Nogueira, especially the first time, it was the first time I ever walked into the octagon. And, you might better at boxing or wrestling or condition or strength. And I'm like, yeah, but I still got this one component that if we hit here, I got that. It's like my, the silver bullet in the back pocket. And that was a fight where I didn't have that. I walked in and I go, man, this guy might choke me out if we hit the ground in certain areas or if he grabs me. I'm like, and so that was a different way for me to have to fight without my dumbbells feather, I didn't have the same confidence going into it that I've had in all my other bouts.
We wouldn't be a good promoter if we didn't have a hat there in front of us, right?
Right.
FreedomFightNight.com. Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, FreedomFightNight.com. Hey, I got 3.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you can see that, but FreedomFightNight.com, you can stream it or come. It'll be a absolute party in a good way in Miami on March 19th. Get your tickets at FreedomFightNight.com and come join these amazing fighters, these amazing celebrities who are finally getting, standing up and having the courage to show everybody else too as well.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I appreciate you guys being here. It's nice to have some athletes here that are willing to speak out on this stuff. And before I let you go, I need you to maybe off camera teach me how to put someone in a near was a rear naked chicken hold or something. Is that it? Oh, close enough.
He'll teach you the chicken hold,
right? All right. We've got
definitely
more
off camera
coming from the booth here. It's maybe some rear naked chicken holds. I don't know. From the booth here at CPAC 2022.
That's on the Democrat side.
Back inside to the general session. We'll be right back.
I'm so sorry for cutting you off.